It is the early 1990s, and Sonic the Hedgehog is the hottest commodity in the gaming world with its totally radical, attitude-filled, vaguely teenage animal, and many other developers tried to replicate its success. Well, most of these pesky varmints stayed on the consoles, but the computer gamers would eventually got their own radical animal that had the right tune and style. I'm of course talking about the titular animal from the 1994 2D platformer Jackrabbit.
This game is the breakthrough project from its creator and designer Cliff Bleszinski, who would later go to be worshipped for his contributions to first and third person shooters with Unreal and Gears of War respectively. In fact, he was only 19 years old at the time of Jazz's debut. So, yeah, what have you been doing lately? To be fair, he shares creation credit with the game's lead programmer Arjan Bruchet, who would later manage Killzone franchise. Let's however get back to the times when Save the Gal plots were all the rage. In this case, Princess Eva Earlong of planet Caratus needs rescuing from turtle terrorist Devon Shell, who does some galaxy conquest on the side, so Jazz, who is mercenary or something, takes the job of chasing Devon and his minions across the galaxy. There are short text snippets between episodes and the CD version even adds grainy but overall decent animations, but there's not much more to the story than that.
The manual says that the animosity between rabbits and turtles comes from an eon-long conflict stemming from an Aesop written story, The Tortoise and the Hare, but that doesn't really add anything of value, because no one plays games like these for the stories. So, does the gameplay kick ass? Well, let's take a look at that complicated answer.
The rescue mission is divided into 6 episodes, with each of them having 3 levels, all located in different thematically disconnected planets, and a boss fight. Though later CD versions added few more extra episodes, but we don't focus on those in this review. It can be seen from their design they were afterthoughts. I'm sure what you have noticed even before the gameplay starts is the mid-90s style audiovisual harmony. Colorful environments accompanied by vibrant sprites make this one of the most aesthetically pleasing games of its era, and the soundtrack. Man, that electro beat pumps me up! Admittedly, the music loses a bit of its punch towards the end, but overall, these tracks keep it rad.
From the sound material, you may have also noticed Jazz's high speed. Unfortunately, the game suffers from a typical problem for the platformers of that era in that the camera is way too close, which combined with the Green Lepus's Kotako fastness could potentially make this frustratingly nervous tippy-toeing. Fortunately though, the game has few tricks in trying to mitigate the potential frustrationedness.
Firstly, the speed can be used to your advantage, meaning that running to enemies and obstacles happens fast, but so does getting out of danger, so the flow doesn't suffer too bad. Secondly, Jazz has weaponry to remove potential obstacles before they become one, and aside from the weak base energy amount, there are various bombs and missiles to provide satisfying turtle herding. Not to mention occasional invincibility power-ups and a helpful battle familiar. Lastly, the level design supports the faster tempo with few super speed segments along with other modes of transport like hoverboard, and also encourages exploring with its secret routes that may lead to unique bonus levels. Well, it's not always there are tight jumps here and there that are taken to its absolute absurdity by the second episode's third stage. I tried everything from changing to slow option to starting a walkthrough video, but I just couldn't get past this small gap. How millisecond precise timing I need to have?
I have indeed never fought against the second episode's boss, so thank God you can play these episodes in any order you want. I looked from a walkthrough video and seems like I didn't lose much. It was just as pathetic as the rest of the bosses. Sure, some even masterpiece platformers can have weak chapter enders, but at least there's usually some sort of strategy involved. In this case, it's just shooting at the boss until it expires. And sometimes you can even get Jazz into a convenient boss where he's free to decimate his foes without getting any scratch. Don't believe me? Here's the boss of episode 4 in its entirety. seconds, people. Well, at least the music track was cool. So overall, Jackrabbit hasn't aged that well in some of its design choices, but its mostly tight platforming shooting offers a decent enough Sonic the Hedgehog substitute. So let's see how the sequel handled things.
With the same creative team, Jackrabbit 2 was released in 1998, 4 years after the first one, yet it was still rushed. So I went through the guess developing Unreal took most of the attention at that time. Unfortunately, the game sold abysmally on its initial release, which some have said to be because of being a 2D platformer when everyone wanted 3D stuff. But both Heart of Darkness and Oddworld Apes Exodus were released later that year, yet they seem to have done okay. Still, the second game has an active community, so it must have done something right to keep people's interest after so long. So the opening one of the two cinematics that were famously animated to the monument of fluidity by Dust and Illusion Tale creator Dean Dodrill shows Jazz kicking cronies in a half cell, but this time he's accompanied by his little brother Spaz. I see. Well, at least we know which one was not the favorite.
I so wish the rest of the game could have been in the same graphical style as the cutscenes, because I'm sorry, but I don't like this game's art direction. The first game's refined, chrome-hued pixels have been replaced by these scratchy Saturday morning cartoon drawings. What even worse, the game isn't even particularly zany to support the art style. No matter what those annoying sound effects in the menu selection try to claim.
The sequel contains only 4 episodes in its base game with 3 levels each that are, to be fair, divided into 2 sub-levels and 3 more with the Secret Class expansion pack, which I didn't bother with. We have now more characters to choose from. Aside from Jazz and Spaz, the expansion adds their sister Lori. Though apparently she wasn't first intended to be related to them, there was some misunderstanding with the expansion's developers. Not that it makes any difference, because character relations are not told anywhere in the game itself, or anything else plot related either. It just starts straight from a castle. No context of what is this place, where all the cards are, and why is this Queen Bunny raging so much. Even the first game gave them minimal required motivation, so this game's lack of it feels so backwards.
According to the game's manual, where all the story bits are, Jess and Eva Earlong were about to get married. But then Devon Shell crashes the ceremony and steals the wedding ring that he instantly used as part of his time travel device that he instantly used to eradicate rabbits from history. Oh, and that Queen Bunny, that is the game's first boss, that's Eva's mother, who threw Jazz into the dungeon because Devon's attack was such a public embarrassment. Way to blame the victim, you royal haggness. But yeah, the gameplay, and you must all be wondering, does this game's gameplay surpass the first one's? The general consensus seems to be that it absolutely can, but I personally have more reservations on that.
The thing you can see immediately is bigger resolution that shows more of the game area. While it does give more heads up against obstacles, I also feel they zoom it out too much. All assets are so tiny and it breaks the immersion when I'm able to see this much of the scene, so to speak. Was there really no middle option between these two extremes? I guess bigger view area is needed considering how slippery controls are. But there are some advancements both weaponry and movement arsenals have gotten from DOS days. For example, this ground pound that gives more variety to attacking and exploration, plus all player characters have their own specialties that affect on what routes and secrets they're able to reach. Jazz can jump vertically highest, crushing some obstacles with it, and also use his years-old Rayman style that makes his control scene a tad less chaotic. Spaz, on the other hand, can reach horizontally farther with his double jump, and has this sidekick move, haha, get it, that can move enemies to past tense perhaps too effectively. The later added Lori can do dash move to avoid confrontation, but otherwise she's more or less a combination of the other salad munchers. Reportedly some players have had problems with getting through some levels with her, but at least during the episode I was playing with her I didn't notice any specific problems. Also, boss battles have improved significantly. Sure, only the first one is a proper puzzle boss, but they are generally tougher and have more brain simulating attack patterns.
As for this game's soundtrack, I like it. It's a very good quality late 90s video game techno rock, but I'm not sure how well it fits with the diet zany aesthetics. So just Jackrabbit 2 is, like its predecessor, decent platforming fun, but neither of them really rise to anything more than that.
Both games have their own shortcomings, be it camera issues and lousy bosses in the first one, slippery controls and non-appealing graphics in the second, or loose world building in both, that make this series one of those cases that never lived up to its fullest potential. However, it can't be denied that their quasi-fast-paced action gameplay is strong enough to give a proper gun-blazing platforming joust. And while there are better games out there, just Jackrabbit duology doesn't need to be ashamed its presence in the crowd of mascot-based platformers. Personally, I recommend the first game more because of its more consistent aesthetic balance and more rewarding exploration, but keep in mind I may be the only person in the world who thinks this way.
There were plans for the third game that would have moved the Jackrabbit siblings to 3D, but because of the second game's abysmally low sale numbers, no one in any publisher firm wanted to touch it. So the only thing that is left from that is an rough alpha build that was leaked a few years back. Instead, this franchise so far, the latest game will turn out to be the 2002 continuity reboot for Game Boy Advance, simply titled just Jackrabbit, that was more of a direct sci-fi parody with just reimagined as a Han Solo type space swashbuckler and even Cell reimagined as a Dark Helmet copy from Spaceballs. I have played some of the game and yeah, it has a wonky level design that relies too heavily on Leaps of Fate and the controllers are quite slippery, but some of its humor lands and some of its puzzles can be inventive, so yeah, overall it's a lame experience, but certainly not the worst PC platformer Game Boy extension I've played. It can't be in a world where Commander Keen 2001 and Earthforging Menace to Galaxy exist.